Yo, 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 yo. How's it going? We'll get started here in a few minutes. Usual audio test. I sound good. I sound crispy. Got like the KFC crispy. KFC always has this weird aftertaste. It's not for me. I haven't had KFC in years. Maybe Bojangles. Bojangles crispy. Yeah, apparently the rationale here is CPI getting closer to target. The idea being that low caps outside of tech will have this snapback rubber band rally because rates are coming down. Guess we'll start here. So that's the idea. I mean, I don't know if I believe that. It's always, it's like the BTC German selling argument or miners or GOX. Like we're always at this like tipping point catalyst where you could say XYZ reason because of the event. Clearly, CPI is what reversed everything today, including UJ, including DXY. We'll take a look at that. That's more bearish continuation than reversal, but so there's a lot of that going on. IWM is like plus 5% over QQQ today, right? Let's take a look. QQQ is minus 2.25. IWM plus 3.5. So some of this could be the implied perception that it's finally time for the small caps to do something. Finally. Nothing will make the bears happier. Nothing. It's so funny because when you listen to all these macro bears, it's always the same archetype of trader. They are pro small cap, anti tech, anti concentration, pro commodity, pro oil. What else are they? Like it's always the same people. They literally have the same investment thesis. And I know this because I've listened to like 50 plus of them for the past couple of years. It's always the same thing. So I'm very curious as to what they're going to say off of this reaction. They will claim that this is an I told you so moment. We were right all along. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Um, but they've been wrong for so long. But that's what I think is happening today. I think we're seeing some strength in the low caps off of a very weak CPI, regardless if you believe the number or not. And that's what's happening. This is the Russell 2000 smallest, not smallest 2000, but 2000 small cap names. So the bears have pointed to this not doing anything, not participating in the rally. The bears have pointed to equal weighted S&P, saying this hasn't participated in the rally. The bears have pointed to RSP over S&P, this ratio. I've probably seen this chart 10,000 times in the past 5 months. So it makes sense that we're seeing what we're seeing. Tech clearly, on a relative basis, overvalued. So that, I think it's a reaction off of that, definitely. Will it last is the question. The cloud has been all over the place with this. It's been leaning bearish, but staying neutral. So this is definitely the first sign of strength we've seen out of the small caps in a long time. If anything, it's trying to negate this head and shoulders, which is good for people who are in the small caps. The only thing I'm short is a hedge on BTC. I'm not short anything else right now. So that's IWM. That's why we're seeing the reaction we're seeing, most likely. Kind of a bizarre day, but it was probably inevitable that we would see some weakness. I mean, look, I think I talked about this on Sunday, right? For two reasons, I was slightly concerned up here. We had reached the short-term cup and handle targets on QQQ, and we had this TK disequilibrium. When you get that far away, it's just harder to pull up. It's easier to slow down. It's easier to take a break, take a breather. I mean, look at this this thing over here, very similar. We got way above the averages super quickly, calmed down, got back to the Tenkin, settled in, and then off she went. So that's still possible. I don't see anything mega concerning on the day other than we're retracing like 4 days. It's a bearish engulfing, right? I wouldn't want to touch this until it's fully puked. So I think we'll see more puke to come here. Like 463 on QQQ. Whatever the daily Tenkin, or sorry, daily Kijun is on all of these, that's what makes sense to me. It doesn't have to go there. It doesn't have to go there quickly. But that would make sense. So this is the S&P. And again, the bears are going to say, the bears have been wrong. Literally, they've been wrong since March 23, if not earlier. Probably January 23. I think we were like right here when bears were convinced that we were going to zero. And then we get the AI stuff. I think the AI stuff comes in like here. April 23. Anyway, so this will be good for them. They can claim victory or whatever. We're probably going to continue to see a little bit of weakness. I think I said on Monday as well that July seasonality chart. It's like May, June, July, something, right? I think it's going to be tough to continue that in July just because of what we're seeing with the macro stuff, CPI, dollar, whatever else. Yep, Ledger's too rich to stream. He's too good for us, chat. He's too good for us. I call him every week. I say, hey, Brian. That's his name, in case you didn't know. Hey, Brian, how's it going? He's like, I'm too rich for you, bro. Click. Boom. Every week. No, he's just been busy doing whatever he's doing, IRL. So yes, this is a bearish engulfing today on the S&P. What does the weekly look like? Weekly looks like a shooting star on the candlestick, if you can see that. I'm always mindful of the mobile phone enjoyers Me personally, I can't watch anything on my phone. I need like a massive screen. But yes, there's a if this closes, this is a weekly shooting star potentially, a long wick with a skinny body. The other part, I think I talked about this also on Monday. So the old cup and handle that we had, we're also in that zone. Like we're just barely in that zone, but we're in that zone where we're in the profit taking category of where we'd expect to be, 554 and above. So it makes sense to me that we're seeing a little bit of weakness. Too busy with distractors, that's right. So that's legacy. Not really much to say there. I like buying anything. What percentage would this be? 5% probably? 4.5%, 5% down from here. I think that's fine. Just watch the cloud. That's all I do. Watch the cloud. But we look good. I'm not super concerned there. IWM a little strength. What else are we seeing off of the news? I didn't want to lead with legacy, but I guess we'll stop there. Oh, we'll look at dollar. Dollar. Again, the dollar bulls. That's the other thing about the macro guys. How could I forget? This is the most important one. The most important macro guy picture is dollar going to infinity, guys. Dollar milkshake. Don't you know? Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard of the dollar milkshake theory? It makes sense. I'm not saying the dollar is going to zero. All I'm saying is we've been in this range for a long time. We have painted a potential head and shoulders here. Boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. Like this is kind of like the IWM head and shoulders where it's like, it's kind of there, it's kind of not there. But what we had over here was an inverted version of that. This whole thing is a giant scoop-de-whoop. So if you're bullish crypto, you want to see the dollar go to zero, okay? To be clear, that's not why I think the dollar is weak because I want it to be. I think it's weak because that's what the trend shows here. The trend shows either a breakout above 107 would be end times for crypto. It would be dollar milkshake theory to infinity, right? Sub 105, sub 104, sub 103, sub 100. Those are all very bullish paths for BTC. If we go, down here, all the way down there. I mean, if we are anywhere near 100 or less in 2025, this is where the bullishness in Q4 comes from. If we just like squiggle our way down here to like 90 something, it is going to be so gross how bullish we are. If we make it from here to 100 until Q4, and then 2025 is this journey down to 90, we're going to hit 300K easy. Easy, bro. Easy. You just have to keep your eye on the prize. Too many people are short term. I've said it a couple times already. Q3 ain't it. Q3 ain't going to be it. We got a lot of supply selling. We'll take a look at that. But what we want, the biggest thing we want, men want one thing and it's disgusting, a dollar that is weak. That's what we want if we're bullish crypto. There's still a risk that this thing on the dollar breaks up. Okay, if this breaks up, this measures to the October highs, 115. Okay, if we go from 107 to 115, we will be back to 30K on BTC. I guarantee it. Okay, it's like, it's bizarre because the picture is, okay, here it is. This is it, right? This is it. This is how we get there. This is 300K BTC, okay, down here. And then this is 30. That's just it. That's as simple as it gets. So getting whatever happens here correct is extremely important for that thesis, obviously. So it looks like it's leaning bearish here. It looked before then that it was leaning bullish. It's a choppy range, but once we get out of this range for the dollar, we also should be out of the range for BTC. So we don't need to do that in a hurry. I do everything, bro. Greco, Horvat. Yeah, meme coins are not going to do anything until people are back in the market. Why would meme coins do well? Meme coins had liquidity infusion in Q4 last year. Now is just not the time. That's the thing. People like want a trade every day. Literally do anything else. Stick your money in cash, not financial advice, and just wait. Just wait. It's gonna be insane. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. And if it's not, we'll just close the channel, say it never happened. I'm super bullish later, not now. Later. All right, so that's dollar. That's SPY. As far as flows go for BTC, on the ETF front, they are positive. We'll say it like that. We'll say positive. They're not like bubbling up to in the billions or anything, but they're positive. They're positive. We'll take it. They're buying the Germany coins, right? That's good enough for me. We don't need anything. Again, we don't need a miracle today. We just need to survive until later. Just survive. That's it. That's it. It's not hard. It's not hard. Expectations should be sideways chop, nothing. Weekly flows are up. Great. Weekly flows are up for the past 6 weeks, right? We're still at 15 billion. Cool. Love it. What else is there to do here? Nothing. Just wait. Just wait it out. Just wait it out. Looking at the miner reserve of miner wallets that are labeled based on crypto quant, I have to say all those caveats because I don't know if any of this stuff's actually 100% totally legit. We're just assuming it is. Let's assume it is. Miners have sold a metric blank ton of coins since the ETFs launched, which is good. They should be selling into strength. I do not want them creating some sort of macro top in 2025. Okay, they still have 1.8 million coins. This is only, so it was what, 1.83, 20,000 BTC? Like this, realistically, this looks huge, but it's not that much over that time period. 20,000 BTC since the beginning of the year. That's really not bad. It's really not bad. It's helped us form a top, but it's not 50,000 BTC, you know. And the problem here isn't one thing individually. It's not, oh, the TA is weak, or oh, Germany, oh, miner. It's everything, right? It's everything collectively. That's not good. This is the updated German holdings chart. Now, the other caveat with this on-chain analysis is just because the German wallets have shown movements doesn't mean they're actually hitting the market, doesn't mean they're being sold immediately. They've probably shifted from trying to do this themselves very poorly to handing it to several OTC desks who are doing this in a more intelligent fashion. And that's why price isn't just plummeting to zero. They are TWAPing or VWAPing or whatever they're doing on the OTC desks, but it's a bit of an illusion to think that we've gone from 40K BTC under 10 and it's all been sold. That's not correct, probably, but we don't know. We don't know. We really don't know. People really do struggle with doing nothing. They do. They really, really do. They really, really do. Just hold, do nothing. There's nothing to do. Avoid leverage, avoid getting chopped up. There's nothing to do here. There really isn't. So this is Germany. It's almost a false sense of security to say Germany is out of coins. Again, not necessarily true because they have accounts with all these OTC providers, I'm sure now, who are dealing with this, and it will probably take them 30 to 90 days into Q4 to fully offload this truly. But sure, if the market wants to think Germany's done selling, cool. I don't think that's the case. Yes, it is Saxony specifically. It is specifically Saxony. Um, so we still have that. We still have miners. The Gox stuff, I don't even have a clue as to when most of that's going to get unloaded. Who knows? It could literally be meaningless nothing burger, or it could be we go to 50 on price. So it's just uncertainty, wait and see, DCA, do nothing. That's it. There's really nothing else to say. Looking at CPI, shifting to macro stuff. We had the first negative month over month print since 2020 on CPI. So that's pretty huge. 3.0% actually came under expectations. Expectations were 3.1%. So that's huge. That's huge. So for Powell and the Fed at this point to say we have no evidence or we need more evidence, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. And I don't want cuts to moon price. It's just like, look, let's be honest here. If we're being objective about it, are we to their target? No. But we're damn well close. You know, this is where we are at. CPI versus core. They prefer PCE. They prefer stuff like core. But we're headed in the right direction. We're not to 2%, but, you know, how much more do you want to squeeze out of this? The other thing the macro bears will tell you is, well, the Fed can't lower rates here because we will kick off this reinflation. Okay. But you have to assess that with what is the realistic probability of a recession if we hold rates here? What is that probability? And the macro bears are also 100% sure we're getting a recession. So you can't win. You really can't win with them. But as CPI stands, this looks really good. Looks really good. Looking at jobs real quick. This was as of July 5th. This is last week's data, but we're seeing weakening of the jobs market. We're seeing strength disappear. We're seeing unemployment slowly tick up, even though historically this is at a very low level. The issue is this runaway possibility. Unemployment typically doesn't just tick up slowly and then tick down. When it starts to take off, it's over. We go to 5%, 6%, and then the soft landing is gone and it becomes a hard landing. This is wages, which have also contributed to inflation. But it's, again, all this stuff is headed in the right direction. They want a weak jobs market, they got it. They want inflation down, they got it. I thought this was interesting too. 401k balances by age bracket. Still pretty low, but I think I was seeing, there was something else I was looking at that was like millennial net worth is in like the 250,000 by average or something. I was like, really? Wow. I mean, it must be like housing related. Anyway, that's CPI, that's jobs. Looking at CPI categories, the big category that has been taking off has been insurance. And I think is motor vehicle insurance on here. Okay, there it is. So it's still rising on a month over month basis. Dairy products up. That makes sense based on, not bird flu. Is it bird flu? Yeah, I guess it is bird flu. There's still like lingering bird flu stuff in dairy farms. That's going to be an issue for supply. Tobacco products, okay. Food away from home. And then airline fares way down month over month. Some energy stuff down, cereal down. Mostly just natural gas up. Year over year, motor vehicle insurance is still insane. Hospital services. What are the other big ones on here? Used cars, I talked about that Monday. The Manheim Index came way down. Airline fares way down. Gas down on a year-over-year basis. Tobacco and smoking products. Why would that be up as much as it is? I don't know. I don't have a good answer there. So clearly not everything is down, but based on their basket, looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. And if you listen to FundStrat, Tom Lee, their team thinks motor vehicle insurance is going to continue to decline. I think that was what I remember reading. So if the biggest component is declining, that's good. You know, the biggest plus year-over-year change. But I think the big one is also owner's equivalent rent, as far as the percentage in the basket. That's also weighted quite heavily. I think it's like 25%. And it's going to take a long time for that one to come down. Looking at a different basket, Trueflation year to date, new lower low, new yearly low. Again, we are there based on, depending on the basket and how you want to massage this data, we are there on a year-over-year basis. We're clearly not there if we go to the where is it? The purchasing power or whatever. Right, this is why people are pissed right here. Since 2020, since 2021, you've lost a quarter of your purchasing power. That's why people are pissed. So yeah, we can say inflation is zero month over month. Oh, by the way, you've lost a quarter of your purchasing power since January 2020. Not a great look. So with all that in mind, this is where let's refresh this just to take a look. This is where the Fed funds futures for meeting probabilities stand. As we stand now, we're pricing in a cut in September, nothing at the end of the month. But man, I imagine when is the unemployment? Does anybody know the unemployment print? Let me just look real quick. It's usually at the end of the month. That's why I'm trying to figure out. It depends on which day. Because the question is here, like, are they gonna get an unemployment number at the end of July before the meeting? I don't know. Like, you know, for instance, if the unemployment number comes in at 4.3, are they going to start to panic? Like, because there isn't a meeting in August. That's Jackson Hole. So we may get some forward guidance this meeting that, hey, things are looking to the point where we will think about cutting within the next 3 months. Or he says something in Jackson Hole where he says, we're going to think about cutting. He being Jay Powell. But this is where the market has it today. So maybe 3 cuts this year. I don't know. We'll see. Nowcast also, it's probably hard to see, but Nowcast has us at 3.0 as well for the month of July, only 11 days in. So I don't know. We look good. We look really good. I think it would make a lot of sense for them to get to the point where they want to cut. That should help crypto. A weak dollar should help crypto. TLT also really liked the weaker CPI today. Rates across the board were down, so TLT is up. This is the 3-day chart, so it's going to be hard to see I don't even know if you can see this because my face is probably in the way, but let's just go to the chart. TLT. This is the long bond. So that's the weekly. I don't really care what this is other than this has been death for years and it's starting to look good. It's been noisy on the daily cloud, which is why I don't really look at the daily. The 2-day also noisy. The 3-day has not been noisy. The 3-day has been 100% correct since 2020. So this one is the time frame to watch. I would also watch this diagonal here. If we get anything above 95, it's go time. And then the question becomes, what does BTC do off of this? If real rates are down, gold should go up, BTC should go up. If we invert this, so this is TLT with BTC inverted. Just something to watch. I don't know. Just something to watch. You know, if real rates start coming down, does that help us? I assume it does because the dollar is weakening. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's no correlation there at all. This would suggest a weaker BTC based on this correlation. So I don't know, but just something to watch. Can I delete this? Yeah, there we go. So TLT looks good. All right, let's talk about crypto. Let's talk about the BTC. BTC, oh man. First thing I always do when I wake up, I haven't lately. I haven't had the strength to look at the daily chart every day, just because sometimes when you're locked in visually, like with a photographic memory, like I know where price is. I don't need to see the chart, but we are bearish based on every metric you can look at. Cloud, 200-day moving average, 20-day moving average. And that's fine. That's fine. But don't expect a miracle here. D-Park, I tested the audio when I started, and I was good on my end. There's really not much else I can do, unfortunately. I know it is on the lower end, but I can't up the audio any way other than I already have. Dell, I agree that they will be late and it will be looked upon as being late, but I don't think they want to surprise the market. So the best they can do at the end of the month is give forward guidance to cuts in September, giving some if-then statement, you know, like if CPI for August stays blah, 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 and jobs, blah, 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 then we will cut or start cutting. So just because we're trend bearish doesn't mean we need to do anything, but it does mean it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. If we look at the cloud will not, like even if we're flat here, the cloud is not going to populate itself until like September. Okay, so like sit tight. Sit tight. So assuming we go flat sideways, we won't get an edge-to-edge trade on the daily until September probably. Now we could pull up. Let me try to pull this up. We could pull up I would have it somewhere. Let me look. Sorry. There. Yeah, okay. So we could do one of these things. This is obviously very early. This is not a call, but this is something to watch for. We've got the left shoulder. We've got the head of the potential inverted head and shoulders. So this would be like best case would be we do nothing for a little while. We drift up maybe. It's just not going to happen anytime soon, right? Here was the other inverted head and shoulders here. Let me get rid of that so my head's not in the way. So this took 30 days. We are 18 days into this. Another 12 days would bring us to the end of July to potentially, expect some sort of breakout. But it's easy to forecast this and say, this is a possibility, this may happen. It's harder for price to actually climb back to 63. We'll see. We'll see. But this is something to watch for if we're surprisingly bullish early. This is the setup I will be trading. As far as taking hedges on or off, I think adding a hedge here is silly. I think the next place to add a hedge is either 63 or 54. What else do I want to say about this? You can kind of see the other thing that we see often. I keep talking about this. You can kind of see that with the parabolic puke is kind of over. That's a good early sign that somebody started to absorb something, right? We see this all the time in any retail heavily traded product, whatever. You always see this. I think we see this a lot because of people on leverage who are constantly like buying the dips, getting their hand cut off, catching knives. Anyway, so this is done. Okay, great. We've started to go sideways. Cool. Now the test comes. Can we hold the low? So that's what I would watch for. And can we continue to eat through this German selling, Gox, whatever, right? I just think it's going to take some time. So as bearish as this looks on the daily, I don't think it's like over until we make new lows. Surprise cut in the embedded IHS breakout. The thing is, we didn't today, we didn't reclaim or hold any level, even with the good news today. And if you look last month we had what the market took as a surprise in a bullish CPI print, a bullish jobs print, in that jobs numbers were getting worse, okay? And we still went down. So that just tells me the supply overhang selling takes precedence here over macro stuff, because that's what's driving the market. What else can we say for BTC? We just really, you don't want to see lows, which is why sizing up on some long here is risky. It's risky. 40s are not inevitable, but they are possible. So that's why you got to be careful. It can't get any quieter. BTC to 5K? I don't know about that. Hard to believe that nothing breaks. Well, commercial real estate clearly is under a lot of duress, for sure. Prefer to wait until there's a good setup entering a trade. Any recommendation those who can't confidently pick a bottom? Yeah, DCA. So Stars New Zealand, what's up? I have no issues with DCAs down here. If I was DCAing like I have in the past, I would do it weekly. You could take like 75% of the cash stack and DCA weekly, and then use the other 25% to just buy dips. You could also just put bids on the book every $5,000 down if you wanted. I'm just not super confident that those are going to get hit quickly. So you may be better off just sitting and yielding cash or something. But I love DCAs here. Anytime we're below the 20-week moving average, love it. 200-day moving average, love it. We've got ETFs post-halving. We don't have to go up, but the probability is high over time, not soon. Whereas near to midterm, the probability for up is extremely slim. The probability for down is decent. But that's not a promise either. So, there's nothing to trade here. There's really nothing to do. Now, if you're like a range trader, which I am not, definitely, but let's pull up a chart. Here, I did draw this out. The parabolic puke. This is the other like potential. Like, yeah, we had one parabolic puke, but what if we get like the Gox leg of the parabolic puke? This is also, the possibilities here are just too wide to be certain of anything, So this is where sub 50, and I think then I start buying with my cash, okay? Like, that's what I'm waiting for. I don't know if we'll get there, but that'd be a good spot. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, the range stuff. I am not a range trader, but I could see an argument for buying the lows. Here's what you could do. This is not a recommendation at all, okay? The stop loss level is ugly because these wicks are ugly. But the idea here would be, look, if I'm confident that the bottom of this range is going to hold, I'm just buying here and selling at 72. It's worked a couple times now. You could even, I don't know if that's the midpoint exactly, but you could let some go at 65, you could let the rest go at 72, whatever. That's one way to do it. If we see something like this, I don't know, right? I don't see this as a great setup right now, personally. At least you have a super tight stop loss. Just reading chat here. Weekly perspective. Well, the weekly perspective would support a Kijun bounce, right? So this is the level. This is similar to the SPY and the Qs, right? The Kijun is down still quite a bit lower. It's at 50. We'll just call it 50 even. It's 49.5, but we'll call it 50. From memory, I don't have back testing on this, but from memory, when we break the Tenkin, this blue line, to the downside, we typically find the Kijun, okay, on the weekly at the very least. Here's one example. Here's another example. That's just in recent history. If we go back, here's another example here. Here's a very quick example there. In 2020, we never broke the Tenkin on the weekly the entire time until 2021. So once again, it's like, you could be margin long 100x here, but I really, really don't think that's going to work out for you. That's like a coin flip. So this does still lean pretty bearish. If we go back further, even all of 2016, 2017, rarely did we break below the blue line, the Tenkin. And when we did, most of the time, we tested the Kijun, the red line. So even if we go to 50, it's not over. But we'd really not want to go lower than that. Thoughts on the 3-day cloud? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say that's different. Just because it points to an eventual bearish edge to edge to 50, which would be the weekly Kijun, you know. It doesn't look bullish, you can say that. You could say that much. Now, again, if we magically like pop up back to 62, that's fulfilling the prophecy of the inverted head and shoulders. It's just a if this then that. I think the best trade is going to be at 62. I think the highest risk to reward on a long is here, but your downside would be significant. So I'd put a tight stop loss on that. You know, I don't see anything for me here. This is the 4-hour. If we look at the 4-hour cloud with a pitchfork, again, like we're not bullish here. We're still in this downtrend. We could easily get all the way back to 63, 62, whatever. What did I do? We could easily get back to here and get rejected. So I just don't think there's a trade to take. I don't think there's anything to do. DCA is the way to go. What would it take to get me to flip bullish? Well, we need to get back above the daily cloud. Let's just start with the 4-hour cloud, right? Let's get back above that. How far down the line? This is the 2-hour. Still below that. The hourly. We're above the hourly, but the hourly's been super noisy. So 4 hours is your best bet. We have not made a higher high that we've been able to hold since 63, right? So the first step is, can we get above the 4-hour cloud? Can we get back to 63? If we get rejected at 63, that's fine. That's right shoulder territory. Great. Can we then break above this stuff? So, you know, I like a spec long at 58 to 60. And that is, what day is this? That is, we'll just call it July 16th. You know, if you want to put like a time point on it, that's why I like the pitchforks and the trend channels and the cloud. It kind of gives you some sense of like, okay, where's the resistance burning off a little bit over time. So if we can continue to go sideways into 16th, 17th, that's what, next week Wednesday, continue to hold sideways, continue to slowly drift up, then I think there's a trade that's a little better there. But that's just a wait and see. You know, this time next week we'll know if we are above 60, above 59, whatever. So we'll start there, and then can we make the head and shoulders? Can we break up, right? I think that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be an August, you know, decision. So we're not there yet at all. The other wild card here is the ETH ETF approval. If that happens Friday next week, I don't know, right? You know, this could line up with that. I don't know. Again, there's too many things outside of the technicals that are just so all over the place that could happen. And just because the announcement is bullish for ETH doesn't mean the unlocks for ETH will be bullish. So it's back and forth. Anyway, that's a 20-minute rant on I don't know. That's what it comes down to. There's just not a trade here, right? You don't have to take a trade every day. You don't have to take a trade if you don't think there's a trade to take. I don't think there's anything to do. ETF approval could push off BTC. Imagine the smell. Yeah, so one thing I did notice this week was alts were kind of diverging a little bit from BTC. They were popping up. So maybe that's a sign that we're a little bit oversold or something on BTC. I don't know, right? People are selling BTC, Germany, whoever else. So it makes sense. But as far as ETH, we'll do some Kraken Pro stuff. BTC underneath Tether today. Okay, ETH way down there. Sol. I mean, you go down this list. I'm just looking at the volume column here. You go down this list on Kraken, and it gets thin quickly, volume-wise. Not a lot of volume or attention on anything outside of the top 5. ETH, again, like, is there anything here? Literally all I'm seeing on Twitter is ETH approval, ETH ETF approval is bullish. We're gonna moon. No discussion of ETH. Just brushing it off. I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think we get the ETH unlock. I think we maybe go to 38 first, but I think we spend a month selling off to sub 28. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's like this. Hold on. Something like this. This. and then like a scoop down here and then recovery. I don't know. I don't see us breaking out of this ETH consolidation. I just don't. We already had the surprise announcement of the applications not being denied. So I just don't think it's going to be that surprising to the market when we get the approval, because it's already been, you know, the Bitcoin ETH, the Bitcoin ETF approvals were like a first, right? People still were in denial that they were going to happen, as it was pretty clear to most of us that it was going to happen. Whereas the ETH ETFs, it looks like they're going to get approved. I think that's pretty clear to most people. We could just, you know, here's another option. Just do nothing until Q4. Where's Q4? So there to there. Perfectly reasonable. Even in 2023, it took ETH a while to wake up, you know? I think this was Q3. And where is it at? Sorry. October. Okay, that was Q3. Q4. That was Q4. That was the end of October. It was almost November by the time ETH started making highs, right? So sit tight. Sit tight. Who's the buyer of the ETH ETF? Who? Tech just sold off, bro. You know, like, we want to pull up that chart again. Let's pull it. I saw this you know, brilliant rationale. Brilliant rationale yesterday. ETH is just tech, bro. People want tech right now, bro. People will buy the ETH ETF because ETH is tech, bro. Well, tech just sold the crap off. So are they going to still want it? I don't know. The alignment of bullishness for the BTC ETF was so much different than this. We had pre-halving excitement. We had reverse repo liquidity unlocking. We had the first mover advantage. Like, nobody thought this was happening. This is impossible. Gensler. It's different this time. It's just different. You can't even get, this is the other part of it. It's not staked. It won't be staked anytime soon, probably. So it's really an accessibility thing. That's the main sticking point here. And okay, like, is that a large TAM? Is there a bunch of people knocking at my door calling me asking about ETH? Literally 0 people. 0 people have asked me about ETH. outside of, you know, Twitter and YouTube. So it's very much a I'll believe it when I see it situation. I will believe it when I see it. But if you are bullish, don't let me stop you. If you're bullish ETH here, go for it, right? I don't know, like just have a plan. It's a trade. I just don't see why it would be bullish right now. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's just not the time, you know? It was a great time in Q4 into Q1. ETH benefited from that at that time as well, right? Since then, we've only sold off on any positive news. And this includes, I don't know, Genesis, founders of ETH. You can look at the list of all the people selling. This is another thing I saw somebody say. People aren't selling ETH. Are you sure, bro? Are you sure? Because I still see plenty of people selling ETH. So you know, look, if you're bullish, go for it. It's not for me. There's no trade here. The cloud is not on your side. The trend metrics are not on your side. I will happily say I was totally wrong. If we're above 4,000 this month on ETH, I will say I was so wrong. I will spend 30 minutes telling you how wrong I was. But I think it's going to have a tough time breaking 38. I don't think there's a trade here. Anyway, that's enough about ETH. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Could be crazy bullish. I just don't think it will be. Sol also, you know, it's just chopping around. By the way, it's not easy for me to just trust me, bro. It's again, I don't care what you guys do or gals do trading. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. Okay, I'm clearly not loading up the boat on ETH or Sol or any of that junk here. I just am not. It's not the time. Look at the chart. Why aren't people buying ETH now? If ETH is so bullish, why aren't I not buying ETH right now? Bro suited well in the BTC, if I missed it altogether, we'll run it back. BTC is the most successful. Okay. Again, like, are the BTC flows bullish here? They're kind of just muted. I'll try very hard not to say I told you so if ETH sells off, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. The other option is BTC sells off and just drags ETH with it, you know? I don't think we're going to see ETH BTC going in opposite directions. This is Sol, equally not bullish. Maybe this is an eventual W, but 155, 160 would be the level. If we start to get above those levels, I'd get bullish again. So we'll say 160 by the end of the month on Sol. If we're there, I'll get bullish, but this doesn't look great either, you know? Sub 100, that's a buy, but anything between here and 100, I don't think you do anything. I don't think there's anything to do. So we've got stablecoin, BTC, ETH, Sol, Forex, stablecoin, meme coin. That's the top 5. Pepe. Again, what is it or trade here? It's not a pending cloud breakout. We can go to like the hourly maybe and find something. I just don't see anything to do. There's no trade. I don't get it. I don't get it here. Nothing to do. Ripple, why not? Let's look at Ripple. Man, what a great looking chart. Not. Ripple's done nothing realistically since 2017. Cool. Next chart. Doge. Doge is also not bullish. The other way to look at this market is just say, well, any place that we broke out from last Q4 is where I want to be a buyer again. Let's make all this bigger. Is where I would want to be a buyer again. Here. Let's go this. You can't see it because my face. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's lower than here, right? Like, you know, what is there to do? What is there to do? This thing looks ugly. It looks hideous. I haven't seen a good looking crypto chart in a long time. Yeah, SL. The way infectious diseases work, the longer two populations are in contact with each other, this is a teachable moment. The longer they're in contact with each other, the higher the likelihood that eventually there's some spillover effect. So, bird flu, swine flu, what other flus are there? You know, I'm not going to talk about COVID, but COVID could have been a spillover thing, even though it probably wasn't. So we are seeing a jump in cows getting diagnosed with bird flu. So that's where this is coming from. I mean, you can Google it. There's been plenty of stories about it. Plenty of dairy farmers getting diagnosed in Colorado, I think in Mexico. It's not like a massive threat, but it's just opportunity. Like the more avian flu we have, the higher the likelihood it jumps to some other species, the higher the likelihood it eventually jumps to us. The more it's in individuals, the higher the likelihood that it gets some sort of lethality or has increased ability to be infectious. That's just the way it is. So the best thing we could do is try to limit spillover effects or limit these events. So that can't be helping dairy prices. I don't think they're slaughtering. If you want to go deep down the rabbit hole, they were denying that milk even be tested for avian flu. The farmers were, because they were worried that the government was going to force them to slaughter their herd or something. You know, it's a yin and yang between letting this stuff just persist in the milk and hoping for the best, or doing something about it, or thinking nothing's going to happen, or putting your head in a hole in the ground and hoping for, it's a difficult situation for sure. But that can't be helping what's going on right now. Anyway, is there anything that looks good? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, we can look at all these charts. TIA. Show me the trade. I don't see one. Near. Don't see a trade there. What are you looking for? You're looking for trend. What am I looking for? I'm looking for trend bullishness. I'm looking for just ugly bearishness. I'm looking for a chart pattern. I'm looking for anything. Let's go to BCH. BCH. I don't see anything there. Now Tron is different. Like if you want to buy strength, Tron has been, it's not for me, okay, just to be clear, but Tron has been in this uptrend since 2023. Crazy, right? I don't see anybody talking about Tron. It's up 110%, 150% since year to date. So this is the one chart that actually looks good. I could never buy this. Yeah, SL, if you just Google dairy farms, avian flu, I'm sure it'll pop up. even US, whatever. They'll talk about it. Uni looks good. All right, so Tron, this is what I want to see. The problem is it's Tron, okay? Maybe I shouldn't care, but I do. Tron in this market looks phenomenal. If we look at Tron BTC, is it going to let me pull it up? Where is it at? Tron BTC, tons of strength here weekly. It's still in a massive range, but so I don't think there's anything like super pressing there. There was a massive diamond inverted head and shoulders here. There was a head and shoulders here that broke down. Now there's maybe a W, and this whole thing is just a massive range. But it's had some pretty good strength based on the rest of the market. Back to USD. Okay. Somebody said Uni looked good. If Uni doesn't look good, bro, I don't know. Chat, you tell me. Like, does this look good to you, chat? Why would this look good to me, chat? So Uni had this. Broke down. I don't know what this was. Maybe ascending triangle? Then it had another triple top. And what is this? This is a nothing. That's the burger, and it's a nothing burger. That's what this is. On the weekly, I didn't see anything either. You're telling me this looks like a trade? Come on. Come on. I would want Uni above 11. Uni above 11 in Q4, that's a trade. Now, if you're convinced this goes higher, go for it. But I don't see a setup here for me. Sui, again, like what are we doing, right? Hoping it's a bottom. Definitely have your parabolic puke. This is say, I talked about this one in the video, I think. Parabolic puke has stopped for now. That's a good sign. Is this a trade? Anytime you see anything like this, you can always, I never do this, but you know, if you're just looking for a trade, you could say, where do we even, let's turn on VPVR. You could say, get it? I don't know, like here? What's 50% of this range? 5-1. So if we're bullish, something like this, you know, we could put our stop loss down here at, what is this, 25 cents, right? Boom. Or 23, new lows. 23.7. Stop loss down there. You're buying here. You're expecting bullishness eventually into this daily cloud, edge to edge. And that's a decent risk reward. Like, that's a trade you could take. The trend is not on your side. The general market is not really on your side. But you could take the trade. You could take the trade. Why is my nose so itchy? It's got to be allergies. Am I the Peter Brandt? I hope not. I hope I'm not the Peter Brandt of crypto. Look at Golem. I think that's on here. We'll get there. Anything else worth looking at here? I don't think so. What is the ticker for that? I don't even know what the ticker for Golem is. SNX. Anything DeFi is probably going to be about the same. SNX looks particularly awful to me. This does not look good. It's at all-time lows. I don't think this is actually all-time lows, but it's lows for Kraken. Aave would be the other one to watch. Aave to me you know, it's got this stuff going for it, which is not good. So Aave up here, and I like it, but you've got a bearish chart pattern down here still. Look at this chop. This is 9 months of chop. What are you doing? GLM. Okay. GLM. I don't think. Is Casp on here? Someone else looking? No. Okay, we'll go to Pendle. I don't know if Pendle is on. Oh, it is. Not a lot of chart history. Where's a chart? Casp. I don't know who trades this. Always a good sign when it's not on a US exchange. Great sign. Great sign. Say, well, cup and handle, guys. Is it trend bearish? No. Technicals look okay. I don't know if you guys can hear the people above me pounding. If it's not the leaf blowers, it's something else. Like, to me, the trade is up here. The trade is up here as a breakout trader. Sure, but it's trend bullish. It looks decent. I don't think that's a trade for me, but Octa? Where do you guys find this stuff? You know, I'm giving you crap, but at least it's up and to the right. It looks okay. I don't know, right? The problem is with this little stuff, the TA is sort of an afterthought, and it's more about unlocks and inflation. Here's that same fractal. It looks good. It looks good. By PayPay, you mean, yeah, we looked at that one. Again, like, there's nothing. What do I want to see? I want to see this. This is what you want to see. Right here, okay? You want to see a breakout on the cloud. That's what I look for as a trend trader. You want to see some obvious pattern. This was a inverted head and shoulders that took a year to play out. These are the high probability, like, I want to make sure I'm here for type of trades. This is not that. This is up here. This is nothing. This is nothing. So your trade was here. Okay. This is a problem with most people. They'll miss the trade. They'll see the hype train. They'll see everybody piling in. They'll hope for the best, and then they'll just get blown out eventually. So this was the first trade. The second trade, which is the trade I took, was, where was it? We talked about it on stream. We talked about it on videos. It was like here. Same principles, bullish above the cloud. It had a chart pattern on your side. It also happened to be the time when the ETH ETFs didn't get denied, and that's why it really took off, because it's an ETH adjacent meme coin. But ever since then, the trade is done. Okay, there's been two trades in 2 years. You know, here's one right there. Here's one right there. That's it. The next trade is going to look like either of these trades. So you're talking stuff up here. Okay, it's not Pepe. It's Pi. PP. I'm gonna get demonetized just trying to pronounce this coin. Again, you know, it's like, it was listed It was born yesterday, literally born yesterday. It's bullish. It's got two things working against it. It is a coin with very little chart history, so the technicals aren't going to work. You have to go down to the low time frames. It's going to be a challenge, but yes. Everybody has a line. This is my line. I will not touch stuff like this. If I can't look at it on the daily, it's not for me. The real question is, am I more confident in this versus cash? That's the real question. I don't want to take the risk. I don't care. But yeah, it's going up. It's going up. Because the next question is, okay, like, how much money am I going to throw at this thing? Really? 500 bucks? 1,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 100,000? No. You know, like, I'm just not. Like, so what's the point? What's the point? The heaviest I'd go on something like this is like $1,000. And then it's just like, why? What's the point? Do I only trade breakouts? I don't only trade breakouts, but I want a very specific setup. That's what I'm looking for. Any other crypto stuff before we switch to TradFi? I feel like we've squeezed all we can out of the crypto stuff. Ismail Yildirim would throw 500K at Pepe, however you say it. I don't even know. The thing with technicals that I found, some people would disagree with this, but the higher the duration of the pattern or consolidation, something that's multiple months or multiple years, that is more likely to be in your favor and just be more of an obvious slam dunk trade than something that's been happening over the past 2 hours, you know? It's up 400%. What am I doing? This is not trading. This is gambling. Okay. So it's not for me. It doesn't have to be for everybody. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. But I'm just saying, if I'm taking risk, I'm not going to be gambling. I'm going to be looking for stuff like this. Joe Coin says Zabs. Sure. Why not? This is where we're at in the cycle, guys and gals. We're looking at Pepe and Joe Coin. What do you like about this chart? Just one thing. Just tell me one thing you like about this chart, because I don't see it. I don't see it. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Anyway. Well, let's scan the other crap real quick. Bonk. This is range chop. Not for me. Floki. Bottom of the range. Chop. Not for me. Whiff. Whiff sub $1 would be great as a trade eventually. So Whiff had this, I don't even know what you want to call it. I guess you could say, I don't know, triangle, something, 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 break up, break down. Now it looks ready to break down again, but there's not a trade. There's not a trade. Pepe, we talked about. Shib, also not a trade. There's nothing here. This has literally been down only since March. No thanks. Doge we talked about. ENA, down only. What are we doing? What are we doing? Dr. Manhattan, we talked about ETH a little bit in regards to the ETFs. I think there's a lot of hopium that it's going to just magically blast ETH off to 10K. I think that's going to take time. I think the inflows are going to take time. I think the outflows from ETH for the first month are going to be significant, and ETH will go nowhere or down. That's my prediction. All right, let's talk about TradFi for the rest of this. Regain some of my sanity. Somebody had a list of stuff. Where do we want to start? Let's start with Mag 7, I guess, because NVIDIA's having quite the day to the downside here. Here's the other thing about the Bears. The Bears are going to claim victory, and this is a 4% down day. It could lead to a 25% down quarter. I don't fucking know, right? Sorry. I don't know, but the Bears are going to say, I told you so. And they've been saying down. They've literally been saying down since here. Meanwhile, NVIDIA is like plus 180%. Anyway, so what do we look like today on NVIDIA? I don't know. Chop? It doesn't look like the it trade anymore, you know what I mean? Here's another good example of that Tenkin riding the Tenkin up. The moment it really broke the Tenkin, it was kind of over for a little bit. So we may be experiencing that here where we don't have to go to 100, but we probably don't continue going to infinity. It probably needs some consolidation. SMCI, I still like this chart. I like this trade. I'm in this trade. Wrong cloud. There we go. I like this trade because we'll get rid of all this stuff. It's got a pretty obvious stop loss. And there's some sort of consolidation down here. There's another triangle over here. I think it looks pretty good. This is like some of those other charts on crypto. It's like you don't have to take this trade. It doesn't look amazing, but it's starting to get back above the daily cloud again. So I think it looks okay. I think it looks okay. Apple. What do you even say? Well, if we measure the previous consolidation, this box, give me a box trading view. This box here, we are in the measured move target. Sideways probably before anything else. Microsoft, same thing. We had this broadening, ascending, right-angled, blah, blah, blah wedge. We've hit the target. We had a similar pattern on ETH. I just think consolidation makes more sense. Amazon, that's an all-time high. Uncle Jeff is selling. I just think it needs consolidation, but I think it looks fine. Looks okay. Meta, I didn't like this trade at 476. I still don't like it here, but it looks better than all of crypto, to be clear. I just don't think there's a trade for me there. Google also hit its ultra low time frame. Ascending triangle, inverted head and shoulders stuff. So I don't know. All this stuff's just as a trade setup. I don't think there's anything here right now. It's still bullish on trend. It still looks good. It just needs time. Netflix, again, it just needs time. All this stuff needs time. Now Tesla, here's that sickle thing, whatever. Tesla, I said, what did I say? What did I say? Oh man, let's clip that. Let's clip that. Oh, I said 270. I said it. I think I said this Sunday. I said it's gonna have a hard time getting above 270. I think that's what I said. I need to collect my clout. I need to collect my clout. We need to clip it. So it hit 271. It had this chart pattern that broke out. Great. Through the cloud. Great. I don't think there's a trade here anymore. I think this trade is done for now. It's going to take some time to consolidate. It was up 60% in like a month. You know, it's going to need some time. It's going to need some time for sure. The bears are going to come back in and say, oh man, I told you so. Oh, the deliveries. Oh, the robo-taxis. None of that stuff matters. It just doesn't matter. Okay? We're not living in a world where that stuff matters. It matters insofar as it's a catalyst for a movement that's already overstretched. Okay? Doesn't matter. So yeah, Tesla, this trade is done. The setup is done. It's going to need time. It probably needs another 2 months into Q4 to decide what this is going to be. I don't know. Maybe we get some sort of right shoulder action here. Starting to look better on the weekly. It just needs time. Give it October. I'll bet you there'll be a trade here in October. I'll bet you. KWeb, finally. This is a Chinese internet ETF. This stuff just takes time. It moves at the speed of legacy, not crypto. I still like it as long as we're not making lower lows. It's China, it's internet, it's tech. You know, there's plenty of reasons to hate this, but I like the setup. I like it as much as I like TLT. It just looks good. Just looks good. Toast is kind of whatever here. Toast we were looking at because of the setup. It was like the Robinhood playbook where it was choppy for years, literally 3 years of chop. But now it's got this head and shoulders possibility, so I don't like it as much up here. Intel. KWeb is the Zcash of China. Intel had a good breakout. Intel had this double bottom target that it hit. Now the next step is to see whether or not we get trend reversal through the cloud or not. So I don't hate it here, honestly. There's the semis versus software discussion. There's the semis broadening out discussion. If NVIDIA's flat or down, are the semis going to all be flat or down, right? I don't know. But from a trend perspective, it still looks okay. Uber, another chart. I'm in this trade. I really like this chart still. I've been talking about it for a few weeks now. I had no idea going into this trade that Uber was involved with robotaxi anything. I had no idea. I still don't know if they are or not. I don't care. I still like the setup. It's above the daily cloud. The daily cloud's not bullish yet. It's back at the neckline. This looks good to me. Another 10% from here. A really strong bullish engulfing candle today. Pattern remains intact, so I like this chart. It's one of the stronger charts out there right now in my book. So that's Mag 7, and then we got, look at SMH. How does that look today? Down. This is like, you know, it's like the Pepe chart, right? Like the best time to trade this is here. You don't know that it's going to go 25% higher, right? You don't know that. That's not the point. The point is the cloud is trying to get you back in this trade, just like it was in November. Try to get you back in here. There was a inverted Adam and Eve that broke down. So up here, this could be a double top. This could be an eventual head and shoulders. I don't think it's a buy at this moment up here. IGV, software. This looks okay. I don't think there's a trade per se right now, but it looks okay. What are some other ones? XLE, Energy. Energy's been a mess. Just range bound chop, nothing. I'm still in this trade. Still in it. It hasn't dropped below the 3-day cloud. I don't know. We don't want this reinflating. We don't want this destroying the deflationary, disinflationary discussion, but it's still holding somewhat okay. Anyway, that's XLE. Failed. It's a failed ascending triangle breakout for now, but it still looks okay. Some of the other sectors, biotech. I must have drawn this. When did I draw this head and shoulders? Maybe last stream? Biotech's starting to get a bid. Similar to IWM. It's kind of the same chart. This doesn't look bad. What is healthcare? I forget the... What is this sector? I forget what it is. ETF. What's up, Solstice? SIRS. Sure. Kind of looks like TLT. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Probably watch this on like the 2-day or 3-day. It's got, it's got this stuff, right? There are a few charts out there that look like they're trying to do something. It's just, what is your time horizon? How long do you want to sit in this thing? Where's your stop loss? If this ranges for another 6 months, what are you doing? I don't know. Yeah, the Tesla thing. I screwed up Tesla even though I had it right because I bought options instead of common. That was my fault. I thought I could be smart about it. The other thing I did, I was like, let's try 628 options or 628 calls instead of longer out. I should have just went out longer. Would have been fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Live and learn. Live and learn. Usually if I buy options, usually I do like, not a spread, but I'll buy common and then a quarter of the common size position I'll buy options on if I'm bullish on something or whatever. All right, what else we got? Pfizer. I keep talking about this because I know people hate the company, but it's just the chart. The chart looks really good. The chart looks really, really, really good. I know they're getting sued by every state in the union. I know that, we can go down the list and list reasons why this company should fail. This chart looks really good. Really good. Yeah, okay, so crypto stuff. I think I talked about all this. Okay, just making sure. Crypto stuff. Where are you at? Where are you at, crypto stuff? BitX. 4-hour legacy cloud. Still not in the bullish zone. This looks extremely choppy. Extremely choppy. Not really anything to do here. I don't even know. We were talking about this in the Discord. If you're DCAing something like this, you just can't look at the price, honestly. You just have to assume. If you have a bullish thesis for 2025, and you want to trade this, trend is not on your side. So I think you just have to hope for the best if you actually want to dive in here, because it's going to take some time. That's the 2x BTC. MSTR, also 2x BTC. It's basically been disconnected almost completely from BTC. They announced a 10-to-1 split today. They are up almost 5% on the day for no reason. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. You don't understand the ETH unlock. So if you remember, if you recall, if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, let's go back to all the way back to over here. So this was the GBTC. GBTC was a trust. It had a massive discount for a long time. That discount was around 50%, 60%. This trust was owned and is owned by Grayscale. They converted it into an ETF. That discount went to zero, as it would because of the ETF. That's one of the benefits of the ETF. This stuff can be arbed out, which just means there will not be a discount to the underlying spot product. ETH had a similar discount on the ETH product that Grayscale owns. That discount is now zero. There is an expectation that anyone who bought ETH for the discount will be selling on the unlock and has not already sold. That's one part of it. The other part of it, if you recall, FTX, Genesis, Celsius, a bunch of these companies that went bankrupt and owe people money had claims or have claims in GBTC and ETH. Those claims have either been sold off or they still hold them, and they plan on unloading these when the ETF goes live. Could they have already done that? Absolutely. Did they do it in BTC's case? They did not. We are still getting GBTC dumps to this day. And that was 6 months ago. So this is what price looked like for Bitcoin, because initially we had massive GBTC unlocks that were much bigger than inflows. So there was a differential there where price could not keep up. So that's why the smart people are expecting the same for ETH and ETH. If we look at the flows for the first, couple days of the BTC stuff, you can see initially this burst of outflows was massive. Some of that is the discounts closing were out. Some of that is people switching from one product to another, blah, 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 fees. Like there's a lot of considerations here, but ultimately, I don't think we're just going to moon on an ETF. That's the thought process behind that. So I'm happy to be wrong, but we've seen this before and we know what it looked like. And there was actual demand, right? We saw insane demand early on, and that lasted for a couple months. We saw multiple $500 million days of inflows. I don't think we're going to see that with ETH. Not initially. But if you think the otherwise, right, go for it. What do I care? That's what I think is going to happen with ETH. All right, back to legacy real quick. Where were we? MSTR split 10-1, disconnected from BTC. Arguably a better trade than BitX because it's not down as much. I don't understand the dynamic of MSTR. I will be perfectly honest with you there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why it's doing as well as it's doing. Coin on the daily, just range bound. It is in the wheelhouse of where I thought it would go with the falling wedge. I don't hate it here. If you're bullish the rest of the cycle, I don't hate it. but you got to be careful if we break 200 with certainty on coin. You got to be careful. Now, if you could say, well, ETH ETFs are coming. They're going to get fees from that. Eventually, it's going to be staking. Coinbase will probably be involved in that. I think all that's true, but will the market care? Is something to ask yourself. I'm not Punter Jeff. You're damn right I'm not Punter Jeff. I still think I gotta find a chart where I can write on. I still think if BTC breaks down, MSTR isn't just gonna magically hold. So this is the triangle. I don't know if you can see that, but best case for MSTR, let me just like make this bigger. Best case for MSTR is that it remains in this consolidation until BTC hopefully breaks up. Let's say this could theoretically hold until Q4, just sideways, where it just doesn't, it's disconnected from BTC. It doesn't go down when BTC goes down. And then when BTC is bullish again, this thing breaks up and just goes to, quadrillionaire, infinity, Sailor's the richest person imaginable status. That's an option. That would be like way up here. It's a 10-to-1 split. So what would that be, like a $500 MSTR price? It's not unreasonable that happens. I don't know. I don't understand why that would happen, but okay, like that's on the table. To me, it makes more sense to wait to see whether or not this breaks down and down sub 1,000. I'd like it. It would be sub 100 after the split. That would make more sense to me. So here, you got to be really convicted here. Punter Josh, yeah. Coin we talked about, Square. Square, I don't really know what to do with this. I've been out of this one for a minute. I keep saying Q4, Q4, Q4. I don't know. Rates down, liquidity up. Maybe it does better in Q4. It's through the cloud in Q4. That's the best I got. Hood, I cut 50% of the position, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now. It was up 100%. So I'm just going to let the rest sit there. I don't think there's a trade here. I don't think there's anything to do with Hood here, personally. You could set a stop loss probably at like 20 or something. Trailing stop loss right there. 21. But it's fine. I mean, it's doing what it's doing. I don't think there's anything to do. You're talking about everything Hogan over there. Royal. Do you know how long a year from now is in crypto land? A year from now is like 10 cycles in legacy land. We just have to clear a few hurdles and we're good to go. Clear a few hurdles and we're good to go. That's why it goes back to the liquidity picture. Rates down and hopefully we're not in a recession. That's the first thing to think about. Okay, global liquidity breaking out would be the next thing. If we look at this green line here, okay, this green line. If this green line moves to new highs past 95 trillion, this is global M2 money supply. That is very bullish for us. Very bullish. I need to watch 1 minute candles. Okay, well, that's a you problem. So it's having certain assumptions for a bullish thesis in the liquidity picture, the rates picture, the inflation picture, all that fun stuff. All right, that was Hood. Nubank is another trade I like. Still in this one. It's a Brazilian crypto adjacent bank. I don't know, looks fine, right? It's literally at all-time highs. I like this better than most everything else. So that looks good. PayPal I don't have any more, but maybe a low time frame inverted head and shoulders. This chart, much like TLT and a few others, it's just been beaten down for years. There's no promise that this thing goes up. I mean, Zoom is another one. Zoom is at all-time lows. Not for me, okay. Peloton is another one. Near all-time lows, not for me. I need to see a little bit of strength first. But, you know, stuff like this, you got to be careful. You got to be really careful. BTC has never been below the 200-day even after having. BTC has also never been back to all-time highs before having. So we pushed forward a lot of stuff. It's a different cycle, you know. It's not the same cycle. It's not your grandpappy's cycle, okay, bro? Okay, Royal? You got to keep that in mind. Every cycle is going to be a little bit different. It's going to rhyme, but it's going to be a little bit different. All right, let's speed run the miners real quick. I don't think there's a trade here for any of these, but I don't hate the range that they're in. The question is like where do you pull the trigger? I think sub 20. I like WGMI more. It still looks fine on the daily. It still hasn't recovered to its listing price, which is super interesting. I like it more at 20 than here, but it looks fine. Marathon, I do not like Marathon for all the reasons we've talked about throughout the stream. Based on the technicals, it is in no man's land. Absolute no man's land. CleanSpark, I'm in this trade. I do not want to see this below 15. Much like Coinbase, it's getting to the point where it needs to do something, you know, shit or get off the pot, as they say. Is this below the 200-day? No, the 200-day is at 12. Like, I guess you could say, well, you know, there's some levels that would be tolerable, but realistically, losing the cloud is not good. This huge reversal over here, not good. Bearish cloud for the first time in a while, not good. So I'm probably hopping out here next week if this continues to look not great, because what is your downside risk? This is your downside risk, sub 10. Or you could just eat it. You know, this goes back to like time horizon, but you could eat it and just say, you know, I'm a buyer anywhere down here. Averaging down is usually dumb and very dangerous, but if you've got conviction, that's one thing you can do. The problem with this here is that it has consolidated for 150 days. So you got to be careful. The assumption is that whatever the direction, the next direction is going to be significant. It's going to be the direction, and it's definitely leaning bearish. Riot, this chart is also a nothing burger. Marathon, Riot, giant nothing burgers. IREN pulled back today on a short report from somebody claiming they're short. Cool. It still is a pretty strong looking chart. The move clearly happened, right? Like the Tesla news. Okay. The move already happened. Say what you want to say, but it was looking way overbought. Same thing with IREN here. Say what you want to say about news or some short report. It was up It was up 200% in like 3 months. Yeah, it's going to pull back on pretty much anything, you know? It looks okay. It's not pretty, but it looks okay. Cores, I don't like this company, but they've got a lot of AI adjacent stuff. It looks fine up here. But again, the problem is it is up 200% in like 3 months. That trade's kind of over, you know? I would rather take a stab at something like Cypher because it's done nothing. You know, Cypher looks good to me. CleanSpark is starting to look like it's going to roll over. I'd rather trade those than IREN here, than Marathon, than Riot, Cores, Bitfarms, also nothing burger. There's just nothing going on. Hut looks fine. Similar to Bitfarms, you may get this huge inverted head and shoulders. And it's funny that we just had this, right? Literally just had this here. So trend is okay. I don't think there's a great reason to be in the trade though here. Hive, Chop, Nothing Burger. Wolf is another one. It was up how quickly? I mean, we talked about this one a lot. 200% in a couple months as well. I just think it needs time. It needs to consolidate. But it looks fine on trend. You know, this is like the post, ideally, post Cypher chart where Cypher, there's a lot of wish casting here, but Cypher hopefully breaks out like Wolf did. Strongholds, not for me. It's not for me until it's back near 10. Nothing there for me. Gree, also nothing there for me. Just chop down. BT. Kind of like WGMI. You know, kind of like, was it Hut? You know, these, I feel like all these are kind of moving super quickly. So if you're not in on these fast, it's hard to want to be a buyer up here. So I don't know. But CleanSpark is on the danger zone watch list. Cypher still looks okay. Everything else, just wait and see. People asking about Lucid a few times. Somebody brought this up in the Discord too. I love this chart. The problem is the company. This chart is going to be an absolute textbook case for is TA real, or is it just like Santa Claus? You're not going to see a better setup than this. You just aren't. I sound like the guy on the collectibles commercials, infomercials who are selling like coins and stuff. You're just not going to see a better deal than this, folks. So this has been in a downtrend since 2022. It has not been above the daily cloud since 2021. And now it's got a 7-month long inverted head and shoulders fractal that it's starting to make higher highs. You know, if you're going to take a trade, this is a pretty good one. This is a pretty good one. Like I said, the problem is total loss with this company. Problem is this company could go to zero, bankruptcy, right? This could just be Tesla laggard trade momentum. But in a vacuum, this is what you want. This is the trade I want to take. First close above the daily cloud since 2021 with a chart pattern. Cloud flipping bullish. Reminds me of the Pfizer chart. If this wasn't Lucid, you know, it reminds me of this. But man, That is a really, really good looking chart. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow to decide whether or not I want to take this trade. It's probably very dumb to take this trade, just to be clear. But Jesus, is that a good looking setup? That setup is so good. Phenomenal. Run to DOS, phenomenal. Yeah, I've got a Discord, Dan, but I try to keep it on the DL. Anyway, that's Lucid. What else were we talking about? What did I size hood at? You know, the usual, not enough. GLD. Yeah, it's an EV company, in case you aren't aware. It's an EV company. EV companies have been very unprofitable for a long time. Sales have been not good. Everything bad fundamentally that you could imagine with this company is exactly what you'd think. Just so yeah, really be careful on that one, because this could look good and then literally next week they could go bankrupt. You know, wouldn't your stop loss trigger? Yeah, yeah. If they go bankrupt, this whole thing goes bye bye. I guess the last thing to talk about on this one would be, where does this measure? 666, that'd be hilarious. Watch it go to 666 and then they go bankrupt. It's like a 60-80% move. Just really be careful with this one. We just had a few companies, Fisker, I think, go bankrupt the other day. So it's a sizing question, you know, like, okay, we want to take the trade. Risk of total loss is real. What do you want to size this? I don't know. That's a personal question, but got to be careful with that one. All right, a few more here before we get out of here. GLD. GLD had a Head and Shoulders fractal. You can see it there, hopefully. This thing. Not white on white. Let's do red. So it threatened a Head and Shoulders. It threatened a bearish edge to edge here on the daily cloud. It looks like it's trying to invalidate that. This was the downside. The downside was the edge to edge target, unsurprisingly. So if this does break up 235 to 240, because now what you could do is you could just read this as a just vanilla flag or something. Here's our parallel channel tool. So yeah, it looks good. I think this is up because there's an assumption that real rates are coming down. So that's GLD, GDX, which are the miners, I believe. Miners doing very well. You can kind of see, I pulled up WPM earlier, but there's clearly a multi-year attempt, you know, at something. It's finally making higher highs, finally breaking out. So WPM is gold and silver miners as well. I like this chart a little bit better, but they both look good. I think there's plenty of room still on this one. It pulled back to the neckline. It survived the COPEX explosion of jubilation and euphoria. COPEX, this is copper ETF, future copper miners ETF, sorry. This looks fine. Doesn't look amazing, but it looks fine. Uranium was up a bunch as well. Looks okay. I'm just gonna sit in some of these commodities for a year and see what happens. But uranium looks okay. Trend-wise, it's kind of all over the place. What else we got? Platinum and palladium. This was a trade I took. It got stopped out of. It still looks okay. This is a great example of like putting your stop loss at new lows, I don't think it's the wrong thing to do, but you just hate to see this stuff reverse literally after stopping you out, you know? So it's like, ugh. Especially if you're like me and you're like, oh man, look, the breakout. Look at the breakout. And then it immediately drops 10%. So I'd be careful with that one. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? I don't think so. You know, their last SLJ, SILJ, silver miners. Silver miners. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. I think silver looks better than silver miners. Silver is volatile enough that if you're bullish silver, just buy silver, in my opinion. It still has plenty of upside. If you want to dig into like silver gold ratio, we could say that this is breaking out as well. How about them apples? It kind of looks like ETH BTC, I'm going to be honest, doesn't it? Kind of looks like ETH BTC. Which there's a lesson there. He said SLIJ on the weekly. Yeah, no, yeah, I looked at that. It looks good. It looks good. I don't hate it. All right, GME. Sure. GME. GM freaking E. Again, let's say you love this chart. What's the setup? What is the sizing? After the breakout, after the initial push, I talked about this thing a little bit. This like inverted head and shoulders junk. So maybe there's a trade here. I can't touch this. It's not for me. On low time frames, maybe, right? The cloud it's starting to work its way through the cloud. It's holding lows. I don't know. I can't even pretend to care about GME. Chewy. Roaring Kitty himself in the chat today, ladies and gentlemen. It settled down. I don't know. You know, it looks okay. It's good to see this over this, right? So you're seeing a rounded bottom attempt. Clearly the selling has stopped. Buyers are stepping in. Buyers are slowly overcoming sellers here, at least for the moment. But I'd be careful with that one. All right, last couple here. UPST. Upstart Holdings. Okay. It's kind of a little bit of a... I can't even draw. Oh, I'm at a loss for words. This is either a diamond or an inverted head and shoulders attempt, right? It's like shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. That looks good to me, as well as like this bigger thing, whatever this is. Maybe there's something here. I don't know. Like there's a lot of stuff that it's starting to break out. It kind of looks like the Bitcoin miners a little bit, honestly, but I like this better. This looks good. I did not look at AMD. We'll take a look at that one last. NEGG. Newegg. Did not even know they're publicly traded. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. I don't hate the chart. I see what you see, dog. A multi-year bottom attempt. I don't hate it. I just, man, it's only, let me write this one down too. See, this is really why I stream. I get all the best ideas from you guys, and then I just claim them as my own. That's a good looking chart. It's a good looking chart. QS. QuantumScape. Similar vibes. I see what you see. Similar vibes. There's some sort of something down here, right? Kind of PayPal-y, kind of Zoomy, right? I can't deny it looks like a pending trade. I don't know if there's a trade today, but yeah. CRSP. Yeah, we talked about this one at some point. I have some annotations here. It probably needs time, but I think this is also a Kathy Wood favorite. It doesn't look horrible. I think it just needs time. You know, it's like Square. It's like all these others that have just been chopping around for 2 years. VKTX, Viking Therapeutics. Yeah, I mean, anything with a rounded bottom, okay. Anything reclaiming the cloud, okay. You know, I'm not gonna ignore stuff like this. It's a little bit early probably on this in this case, but I would definitely keep an eye on it for sure. One that somebody brought up on the Discord, is it this? Yeah. Somebody, I won't say who, somebody brought this up on Monday, and it proceeded to then move another 70%. So they knew what they were talking about. This is a biotech that had some trial go their way or something. I don't know, but this thing went from, was it all-time lows? Yeah, all-time lows to plus 200% in a month, in a week, Absolutely wild. CRISPR is a heavy biotech name. Chris, I have some news on that front soonish, but it's coming. It's coming. AMD. I have not looked at AMD. This will be the last one. It's 404. We'll get out of here. Yeah, I don't hate it. I think Doppel was talking about this one a couple days ago too. It has a couple things going for it. It had the head and shoulders here. It has the like Adam and Eve or Eve Adam ascending triangle. You know, it's got a lot of stuff. Something's trying to happen. Starting to get above the cloud. This is back to the semis broadening out idea. If we look at like AMD over NVIDIA, right? This would be the argument, is that this ratio was at an all-time low. You had parabolic puke straight to NVIDIA. Now, is that deserving for NVIDIA? Probably, because they're just, you know, printing money. They're literally have a printing press in the basement. Whereas AMD as a business, probably not as savvy in that department. But I think there becomes a point where certain things just get overbought, and then just like alts, you know, people go from layer one to layer one. They look for the next thing that hasn't moved. So you may be seeing some of that with AMD. Certainly seeing that with Intel as well, like Intel over NVIDIA. Look at that chart. Just straight down. Ugly. Ugly for Intel. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the warriors watching on the replay, which is what I recommend, unless you like hanging out with me here. And I'll be back Sunday for Setup Sunday. Take care, guys. See you later.